Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm making a video here today. I'm going to try and keep it a bit shorter than my last video. I'm just going to go through S&P, Bitcoin, Doge, Tesla, Ethereum, and Bitcoin dominance. So we're just going to get straight into it. So what I have here is the SPX, and it's a daily chart. I have the EMAs and some key dates. I'm going to say just dates and some angled targets, I guess if you want to call it that. It's a form of GAN. So I'm going to turn off the EMAs right now, and I'm just going to go over what I have on the chart. So on April 7th, a key low was made at 4835.04. I'm going to delete that just to get that little cleaner look on the screen. And going off of that low, you can add 180 to that, 360, 90, 720, so on and so forth. So I have three levels I've added to that significant low: 1440, 1800, and 2160. Just increments of 360. And then as far as the dates go, you can go out daily squares is what I call it, or you can do it on the weekly and weekly squares. You can do it on a 3-day time frame, an hourly, so on and so forth. I chose to do it on the daily. So this is the 0 point, and then it goes to 1. Can't really square 1 because it's 1. So you go to 2, and you get 4. So from that 0 point, you go over 4 bars, and then you go over 9 because that's 3, then 4, which is 16, so on and so forth. And the next one we have coming up is in October of 2025, the 24th of October. Okay, so we're a decent ways away. It's going to come about pretty quickly, but as far as market terms, it's going to feel like ages getting there, right? But that's the next one coming up. And then there's just some upside targets. Okay, you can keep extending, you can pull Fibonacci's, do whatever. These are just levels I have, I'm going to watch, and it's of interest for me because SPX is still in an overall bull market uptrend. Okay, I don't pay attention to news. I don't like to. Just try to tune out all the noise I can. All right, you pull the EMAs up here. The daily has been riding the 21 EMA. If you want to say ever since May, okay, or if you want to say ever since it broke out back above it in April. Okay, it's been riding that 21 EMA very nicely for quite a while now. Okay, there's not much sign of that trend breaking as of currently. All right, it's bounced yet again at the end of the week, last week or this past week because it's still Sunday, or this week, however you want to call it. It bounced pretty nicely, and it looks like SPX wants to continue making new highs. All right, so there's that. The bearish case, I guess, would be breaking under August 19th low and closing under there on a daily basis. It would signify maybe a shorter mid-term correction, nothing too dramatic, or consolidation. Okay, but as of right now, that's not happening, and it looks like further upside is likely. Okay, unless that August 19th low is broken. Okay, so that's the SPX. I'll get to that Bitcoin chart last. I'll come back to that. So I'm going to get into Bitcoin now. I have the daily here. This is a square of 9 price and time forecasting grid for Blueprint. I'll have his thing linked down in the description. You can also check him out on Twitter. Okay, he does some really good work. I shout out to him. Check him out. Okay, so going off the April 7th low yet again, but for BTC this time, we have some angle dates and then node dates, which is when these diagonal lines cross, right? The purple and the blue here. Hey, you can call that node dates, right? The next angle date we have is September 17th, mid-September, and we just came up on a node date. And that was also a down day. Maybe it could have been a low. Not sure. Okay, on August 24th. Now, ever since July 12th slash July 13th, BTC has been in a range, right? Or consolidation. Not much has happened since then. Okay. And going off of previous node dates, it they could signify uh, consolidation. Okay. So the first one was a little bit of consolidation, right? It consolidated here and from April 11th to really the last day before the breakout was April 20th. So 9 day period. Okay. And then the next one was from April 22nd to about April 7th. All right. So about 2 weeks, maybe like 15 days or so. Uh, I don't feel like doing the math in my head. It's been a long weekend for me. Been really busy. All right, but let's just say 2 weeks. So 9 days, 2 weeks. Um, then this next one, it did consolidate and for May 12th to May 18th, so 6 days. It ran up into the next angle date, okay? Um, and then that led to a short-term high being put in and a consolidation period brewing, happening. Uh, then there was another node date here, and yes, it marked a few days after, plus or minus a few days with this, as always, a lower high before continuing lower, but ultimately the next angle date brought in the low. Okay, so looking to now, I mean, obviously two scenarios. So one, a low could have been made here, and BTC could be rising into mid-September, September 17th. Or two, BTC is going to maybe go a little lower to around 108, 109K, slash maybe it doesn't. It just ultimately consolidates, right? It's a pullback in time, so to say, right? And that could happen, that could last perhaps into September 17th before BTC tries to do anything too crazy, right? That's kind of what I have in my head right now as far as Bitcoin goes. It's just pretty choppy. Overall, I don't believe the top is in. The market doesn't care what I believe, but it's just my opinion on things. Sentiment also is neutral. It's at 47. It's getting close to fear, actually, which is really interesting because, I mean, BTC's only at 112. Ethereum's been doing pretty hot. SPX is doing its thing. I know this is the crypto fear and greed. It's just when I analyze things, I like to look at the broader scale, so to say, S&P, Bitcoin, and seeing how things are doing. I mean, it's not too shabby. Just turning out the noise. It just clears your head of a bunch of stuff doesn't need to be in it, right? In my last video, I know I had a path or like two paths BTC could have done. I forget them. I didn't go back and look. The reason they're not here is because TradingView, well, Brave browser that I'm using, I had to refresh it, exit out of everything, and my TradingView work that I had before got deleted. So I had to start again. All right. So yeah, that's the reason why maybe some of the charts are going to be a bit different. So I'm going to get into Ethereum now. This is the daily. I'm going to turn off these two indicators really quick and just show you quite a simple chart. So Ethereum, I have in a range here. It deviated from it. And a nice rule, if you want to call it that, something to know or follow, is that when patterns and ranges fail, okay, and then the asset breaks back into it, whatever it is, a pattern or a range, it likes to head to the other side and go for a breakout. Okay, and that's exactly what Ethereum did here. It even back tested that previous range, right, as a bullish retest and made a new high. So there's strength in Ethereum, just quite simply, the simple way of putting it. So what I have here is level at 6,037, just about, and then a 50% level. This is the same exact range, right? The length of it, okay, with a 50% in the middle, just extended on top of this range, okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but an area of interest is just over 5,000 for ETH, and it's already gotten to 49.50. So it's not too far away from it if it does choose to hit that level. Um, Dude, as long as ETH stays above 4K, I think it's pretty good. Breaking back inside the range could signify some sort of weakness, right? Because you really don't want to see anything get accepted back in an old pattern or range, right? It's not the best look. Just being real. It's not the best look. But as of right now, it is very much above that level, and also coming off of a bullish backtest and making a new high. So ETH looks pretty decent. Okay, money flow is thick as well on the daily. Um, yes, on the RSI, there's some bearish divergences forming, even the market cipher B. Momentum waves, yes. But the thing is with that, it can always keep going. So price action, right, and other forms of analysis, maybe like GAN, is more important, perhaps, so to say, than going solely just off of oscillators, right? So that is ETH. Now I'm going to look at Dogecoin. I have Doge here on the daily with the square 9 again from Blueprint, and just getting straightforward with it, going off this 57 angle date, this blue diagonal going across has been support, right? Yes, it's come under it a little bit, but overall it's been finding that blue diagonal line as some decent support. So another diagonal line that could be resistance potentially is this 13 blue diagonal going across. If Dogecoin does choose to come up to that again, it could be interesting as it could be resistance. All right. And the next key date coming up is September 11th / September 12th. Okay. So in that second week of September, Thursday and Friday. That's going to be the next point of interest for Doge. And going off of what it's done previously on those node dates, it could potentially be a high. It's kind of what it's done previously, besides this one time here where it's been a low. So if Dogecoin is going to continue uptrending in this channel, or if you want to call it channel off this support line, 26, 28, 31 cents are just three areas of interest going off those dates. But overall, Doge looks pretty decent as it's just still uptrending since April. Okay, and especially off that blue diagonal. Tesla. So here I have a weekly cycle on this, and it's ending August 25th, so tomorrow at the close for Monday. And the price target for that is 400. Do I think Tesla's going to 400 tomorrow, Monday? No, I do not. Do I believe that Tesla will be higher in the months to come, perhaps? I do think so, and it's been getting very tight on the weekly chart here. So some sort of big move is coming. My bias is to the upside, okay, on Tesla, and Tesla being a Mag 7, SPX is looking pretty hot. Tesla, I think, has a decent shot of doing something good, right? And so tomorrow, since this price target is not meeting time, it could signify some weakness. But it's not an end all be all because this weekly cycle, pulling it from the April 7th low, could just extend, right? This pennant could break out bullishly, and this weekly uptrend just continues for Tesla, right? So nothing's perfect, as nothing is in the market, as nothing is perfect in life. So it's just another type of analysis that you could do, right? Getting above this 50% here, which is the correction 50% from December to April, is going to be pretty crucial. And if it does break and hold above that level, it just signifies strength. And more likely than not, if you go to the monthly chart, Tesla has been uptrending. I know it gets a lot of hate in the news for some reason, but hey, it is what it is. It's in a monthly uptrend, and two targets I've had for quite a while now, 587, 606. It could still very well be possible for Tesla. All right. And a bearish case for Tesla is, I mean, if it breaks out of this pennant, bearishly, impulsively, um, so a weekly close under some of these lows, and that could be not the best look. But time will tell. Bitcoin dominance, it's pretty weak. Um, what's interesting here is that I've said before in previous video that this blue zone here is the amount of the distance, like the amount of time last cycle from the low of Bitcoin dominance to the high. Okay, and pulling it from the current low, the cycle of Bitcoin dominance, um, it was like a trend continuation. So, sorry, hiccups. So it seems. Um, so it's good for altcoins. Okay, and then I'm on the 4 day here. So 4 day RSI is pretty low, yes. Um, but just like bearish divergences, you can say the same thing about bearish divergences forming. We're gonna have to see if they do form. Um, Usually in trending markets, divergences can build multiple times. A lot of people like to do 3 drives, right? So there's not even one on this thing yet. Um, so yeah, there's that. Bitcoin dominance doesn't look too healthy. So it's yes, there will be a big green dot printed on this thing sometime eventually on the 4 day time frame. But going off of the previous cycle, there's a chance that they just fail. Okay, it depends on where we're at, but just looking at the basic price action or percentage action on Bitcoin dominance, it's definitely in a downtrend. Okay, it's respectively in a downtrend as of current time. Okay, so the last chart here is another Bitcoin chart, and it's just something interesting I found. Well, actually, I didn't find it. A good buddy of mine did, and he showed me this way of analysis. That's another form of GAN. All right, so what I have here is a circle pulled up, and how did I pull up that circle? I went from the bear market low to the high of February 2023, and I just made a radius. So I put a dotted line here and extended it all the way out. And interesting enough, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. Bitcoin's found resistance here pretty consistently this cycle. Okay. Um, it's really interesting, this, how it's found resistance at this level, going from the bear market low. And then you can also pull time targets too. So the diameter, if you pull like from one side of the circle to the next, um, and just pull it from that point, that February high, well, for one, you have support, and two, you got a key higher low, right, before trend continuation, the bull market continuing. Okay, and then a price, half the circle, you pull it here, you just put it at this, length of the circle here. Um, it's not perfect, but it did get close to the high. And then if you pull half of the circle, again, you get a bar off the high, which is just interesting. Okay. And you can keep going and making new ones of these and do your thing. But I just really wanted to share that radius resistance going from the lows of the bear market this current cycle. Um, yeah, because there's so many targets of like 140, 150, 160. I've even talked about it for BTC. Of course, it's possible. Anything's possible. But looking at this, it gives you second thoughts like, can Bitcoin really do it? Don't know. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, whatever it wants to do. So, yeah, um, I'm going to sign out of here. Thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, um, yeah, check out my Twitter and blueprints. I will link both of ours in the description. And yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Peace.